Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be doing the steering column, and it was a little bit more of a complicated build this time. There was more to it than I thought. I thought I was going to be able to go and just switch out one column for another, but that wasn't the case. So stick around, you're not going to want to miss out on how much fun I'm going to have swapping these steering wheel columns.
I'm about to touch this moldy steering wheel. Okay. The key is not supposed to be in this direction.
It's like 45 degrees off. And this is part of the rust repair we need to do also. Yeah, my wife doesn't think that we need to do that right now. We need to do other important stuff like put insulation.
I just thought it was on the outside. I'm just excited to do insulation, but I guess that's going to be the next video.
That might be the next video after the next video.
Okay, well.
So the guy who had this thing before, I guess had to hot wire it also. So there's wires kind of strung out here. Kind of sucks because I don't know which one went where. So that means I'm gonna have to go finding a wire schematic, figuring out where the heck these things go. I might just wire it up old school because I think it has an HEI distributor on it. It's just sitting up here. Because from the looks of it, it's got carburetor on here. Yeah, from the looks of it, it looks like I could just do that. I've got to pop this U-joint off. We got to get that bolt off right there. Unless I needed to go, I might need to go all the way down to that one down there. We're gonna see. I don't know. I think I went all the way. Yeah, I think I did. Yep. I'm hoping this thing's gonna work because this came out of a 95 and this is an 86. I'm hoping that has all the same mounting brackets and everything like that, because this thing over here, it is just a mess. And when I was trying to steer it the other day, when we were moving it just a few feet, you can see it's cockeyed because I didn't realize that this thing was locked. And so it was actually shifting the gears also. And that's just for me moving it like this. So we're gonna get this thing and we're gonna pop it out of there. It does look a little bit like it's different. So I just took this little clip off the steering linkage here, and then I'm just gonna pop it off of there. Now I'm gonna unbolt it at that U-joint down there right above the gearbox. Now I've got it to come off. Now it looks like it's just about to ready to come out. And so the only other thing I need to do is disconnect all these wires so that way I can get this thing out of here. One more wire too right here. Alright, it's all disconnected. Now I've got to get it out of here. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to take this thing apart and see what I am able to go and save, because it is just this part that's broke. This one doesn't have any play at all, but this one has significant play. So I don't know if a bolt fell off in there or what, but hopefully I can go and see if I can take this part of the steering wheel and somehow attach it to this part, because this is really all I need, because the shifter mechanism is right there, and this shifter mechanism is right here. This is a valve spring compressor tool right here, and it works for me. And as you can see, I got that clip out with this tool. Getting this thing back on might be a different story. The wrong tool for the right job. So I had to go down and get a special tool. It's a steering pivot pin remover. So you screw it into this little pin right here, pin where it pivots on. The other one is right there on this side, and it's already slightly come out. So I just drove it in all the way as far as I could put it. And then there's this little collar here. Put down the nut right here, and then you get your wrench. Sometimes you just get crap when you buy something from the store, like, you know, even O'Reilly's and everything. The tool that I bought, bolts already, or the nut already stripped out. And then I tried threading it, rethreading it to a smaller size and putting another bolt on it. Well, that one got stripped out. I think it's the type of material here that's not that great. So I had to end up making my own. I took a bolt, chopped it off at the top, put it in the drill press, and then I ground it down to the right size I needed. And then I used a 4mm by 0.75 just so I can get this size on here. And then I have a few washers that I'm gonna put on it. And this is a grade 8 bolt too. This shouldn't break off. So this should pop this thing out. It's in there pretty good. So I got one pin out. I just wasn't able to get the other side out because it kept actually stripping out. So I got my grinder and I got my deburring tool here. It's a really good little grinder. To get it out, I had to chisel it out like this because drill bits, even though these are cheap, even some of my really good drill bits were not even wanting to cut into it. I kind of wallowed it out a little bit right here, but there should be enough meat on the bone still for me to put this back in there. I have the other steering column that I'm gonna just take this piece right here off of and put it in here if I have to. I finally got the piece off here as I'm pulling it apart because I couldn't see anything past this part, and I finally got this one off after about 2 hours. So these little bolts right here that hold this part to the actual column were all floating there. That's why all this little thing was like all over the place. I'm hoping that I can save this steering column because it's 375 bucks or so, maybe more for a new steering column. And yeah, I could do it, but we're trying to do this van on a budget. I'm trying my best to keep the cost down on this thing. So I've been up since 12 o'clock last night trying to get the steering column done. It was a bit rough trying to get this thing put back together. Actually, to get it to this point right here. I would have finished it last night. I came up across a few things that happened. I had to end up taking 2 steering columns, this one, and making one good one out of one. Now I'm at a point of this is probably a 1/2 inch longer than this steering shaft. I also thought about extending this by about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. These little rods. This isn't even engaging this gear right here because it's about a 1/2 inch off too. So what I've got to do today is take these things off, and then I've got to relocate this thing basically like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch this way. So now I just got to make 2 holes, and this right here will move with it. And these parts actually came out better. This is from the newer one, the newer 95 model. This is the old one, and you can see where it was bent right here, crushed. This thing started flaring out right here, and then this is a little bit bent too. It's like the shift notches where the steering column shifter would kind of rest, where it wouldn't go into any other gears. That's slightly bent right here. Hopefully this is gonna help it whenever I drill it in a different area, and then the rest of it should fit right back into place, and it doesn't move, not anymore. All right, I got my 2 holes, my extra holes here, this one and this one. And now I'll just bolt it back up, and I believe that should do it. So yeah, I know I used this in the beginning where I took off this part, but I was fighting it, and I'm like, if I kept fighting this thing, I was gonna spend another hour on it or two just to get this thing on, and it would have been just easier to go down to the store and go rent the tool. So I went, picked up the tool to put the steering wheel on instead of trying to fight this thing. The wrong tool for the right job. Got the right tool for the right job this time. The entire steering column is put back together. It works good, turns. Now I'll probably be able to actually start it with the key. So this is the reason why that guy before me who owned the van had to cut these and hot wire basically. It's because this mechanism right here was broken inside of here. I got high beams now, and it recesses in the little slot now. The two inner parts right here are off of this thing over here, the newest steering column. This is the only thing that's original on here that's in this section, and plus this thing because I couldn't get it off, and the steering wheel. Everything else in here is from the newest steering wheel, where we ended up having to take the parts off of to just put onto this thing. I looked up these things and they're expensive. The only thing is it needs to be cleaned. It's been sitting for a while, so I can just steam clean it and this thing will shine right up. I was able to take even this thing off the other one we have, and now it'll actually tell you which gear you're in. I think the horn's gonna work. About to put this thing in the van now. So the steering wheel is completely upside down, and the wheels are straight. I almost was at the point of I did not care about any of the buttons, but then I was like, you know what, if I don't put them buttons in, I'll have to put them over here, and then I'd have to rewire it through the entire van. So I said, let's just go with it. But it's just missing one bracket that goes from here and wraps around below and then back up. See if I can go find one of those at the junkyard. Yep, now I'm just gonna pop these wires back in. Alright, it is all connected, but it works now. This thing don't, I mean, it's got a little bit because the bracket's not there. There's no play whatsoever in this steering wheel. Alright, so that sums it up for this video. The steering wheel column came out pretty good. So the next video is most likely going to be a will it or won't it run. This van is carbureted, and there's probably like a handful of wires, you know, power, ground, and key on, key off kind of stuff to just turn on the ignition. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly suggest you do, because there's going to be more to come on this build.